Welcome to New Light Living Podcast. And today I have a wonderful guest. Her name is Kathleen Flanagan. And I just want to say warm welcome to you, Kathleen, today.
Thank you. I appreciate being here.
So today we're going to talk about something I'm very interested in, to learning more about, but also as a healing modality, and that is vibrational sound therapy. But before we dive into this beautiful topic, I want to know a little bit more about you, Kathleen. And who are you and what do you do today?
Well, I've been on this path since I was a child. Actually, I just was very intuitive, didn't know it at the time. And when I was 16 is when I really got interested in this, because my mother had taken me to an Edgar Cayce meeting. And that was the first time I was introduced to meditation. So I had this incredible meditation who I thought was God. Later found out, like 40 years later, it was the Archangel Michael, but they handed me the rod and the staff and said, "You're going to change the world." And I thought they were crazy, because there's no way. I was 16, and that was so ominous to think for 5 seconds I could change something like this. But I accepted the challenge, not understanding any of it, but I accepted it. And that's what started the journey of moving into where I am today. So it was a lifetime of learning, because I didn't know how to speak. I didn't know how to communicate. I was really shut down, very lost, insecure, and depressed and suicidal, because I really didn't want to be on the planet. And when I looked at my parents and how their life was, I thought, if this is what it's supposed to be, I don't want to be that. I'd rather be dead. But I didn't realize at that time I had a choice, because what do we know at 16 years old? That we have choices. I certainly wasn't taught that. So I just proceeded to move and do the things that I wanted to do. And I met with a lot of opposition along the way, because my parents thought I was crazy. My family thought I was off the deep end, that I was some kind of a crazy lunatic out there doing stuff, because, I did things a lot differently than everybody else. I wasn't in the norm of the 9 to 5. And I was happy with that. I wanted that, because my attitude was, I'm here to learn. I'm here to experience life. And 9 to 5 was not experiencing life, in my opinion. Coming home, watching TV, drinking, doing drugs, whatever it was. That was just not an option for me. So I went out and wanted to learn everything. So that's what I did. And I did a lot of it through just me progressing through life. And it hasn't been an easy life by any stretch of the imagination, but I know who I am today because of it. I've experienced enough. I don't have the amount of fear, because I was very fearful when I was younger, and I don't have that fear anymore. I mean, I still do, but it's not like that gripping fear that what if, oh my God. I don't have a lot of friends around, which is okay, because it's about me, and I feel confident with myself. I'm comfortable in my own skin. And that's what I wanted to learn. I wanted to feel good about me, because I would always admire women who I thought were strong and successful and how they handled life. And I just wanted to emulate them and try to understand that, because I didn't feel that way. And so I got into sound therapy probably around the time of the 9/11, I think right before 9/11, I got into it, and I was just so amazed by what it did and how you feel. And it just starts removing garbage that we're carrying on a cellular level. And I was amazed, because people would come into the spa and they would be so downtrodden and heavy and dark and depressed. And they come out and they were like, "Hi, let's go play." It was one of those kind of fun things. And I was like, wow, what is this really doing? And so I was asking Spirit a lot about what was that about. And I was getting healed differently than who was on the table, but they were just showing me that this energy was coming through me into the tuning fork. And then it stopped there. Even though I'm still getting it, I'm not getting their stuff back on me, because massage therapists, a lot of times, if you're touching, you're taking the person's energy in, that darkness, whatever's going on with them goes into your body. And I'm an empath, and I already know that, because I've done that. I've had to have people heal me when I heal other people when I was younger, because I didn't understand what was happening. So I know how to take pain away, but I didn't know how to take it away from me. So when I discovered the tuning forks and Tibetan bells and all of the sound vibrations, I didn't have to worry about that anymore. So I could go and feel safe, because it was about safety too. You know, you create the safetyness for the client, but you also want to feel safe as well. And so that created all of that. So I became more energized instead of like I took all their stuff on. So that's pretty much how I got into it. And the main reason was because I became an esthetician and I was like, anybody can do a facial. I want to do something different. So I created a sound session therapy with sound for a facial, and everybody comes off the table is like, I've never had a facial like that before, because they're just so, whoa, I don't know what happened to me, but they're not grounded, you know. So it's just sit there, breathe, have some water, and you'll be fine. And then they're like really energized. So it
Yeah.
was really wild to watch this when I first started this process of what energy and vibration actually does.
Yeah, what an incredible story you have, and really tapping into your natural gifts in that way. So I'm curious to learn more about what sound therapy is. And I know you it's a vast topic, but like in the short version of what it really is. And as you also have witnessed the impact on others, can you describe it a little bit more in terms of how it impacts us when we go for that beautiful sound therapy facial or other, sessions that you may have?
It's, let's see, when you come in, I mean, I always recommend that you drink water, because sound travels through water, and we are vibrational beings. We feel before we ever see, before we ever experience, we feel everything, because this is a vibrational universe. And and I had just seen a documentary on the vibration of this, where people are blindfolded and yet they can see color, they can see numbers, they can feel like where walls and doors are, all of that. I mean, it was amazing to see this. And they say that we see after the fact. So when I have somebody come in and they drink the water, and I'll put them under, and I generally start out with anointing them with essential oils. You know, I create a Merkaba, which is not a spaceship, but an energy force field around you, so you can travel and feel safe and you're protected. And then I do a chakra balance, and those are the energy centers of the body, and I'll balance them. So we start out with a clean slate, so to speak. Now, the client, a lot of times, they're very aware of everything that's around them, because all of a sudden they just seem to be very heightened in what's happening, and they're like, they can hear everything, but they don't realize what I'm seeing is they are way checked out. I mean, they are way gone. And it's really amazing, because I always stay checked into the client to see where they're at. Once I balance their chakras, then I start being told like what to do. Now, I don't know why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm just being told that this is what they need, and I just follow it. So I will use crystals, and I use essential oils. I use tuning forks, the Tibetan bells, and sound bowls. So I use a wide variety of sound with them. And as I'm doing this, I'm being healed, they're being healed, and the planet is being healed, because this vibration reverberates out throughout the entire planet. So that's another thing that's really cool, is how positive that this energy is. And then when the person is done, then I rebalance their chakras. They'll seal them up. You know, I kind of like net everything together, so they don't just go out and then they have road rage 3 minutes after they walk out of the spa, right? So I seal them up, and then I rebalance them, because they're all discombobulated. So we rebalance them, and then just ask them to drink water. And they are usually, I mean, I've had people just come out going, I mean, it's like the deer in the headlight look almost, because they are so amazed and they don't even understand what just happened to them. I mean, the sound releases cellular memories. And even though we don't know what they may be, they're there, because we carry everything with us in our bodies. And the nice thing about sound is you can release it without having to relive it, talk about it, experience it. It can just be released. because that's all it needs. Because as long as your consciousness is there and you're understanding it and you can see a way out, then let it go, because it's gone if you let it. It's if you choose to keep it, then it stays.
How beautiful. It's what I'm hearing here is that this is, work, and especially now reflecting on the times we're in, that there is such a need to release some of that cellular memory to be able to welcome the next level of consciousness and life that we
Exactly.
are, offered up to embrace if we want to. So, what you're describing is that it really is a fundamental paradigm shift that could happen if let's say a healing modality like vibrational sound therapy and many other modalities as well are becoming not only complement to traditional treatment methods, but just the impact on that ability to release things that holds us down and contribute to the pain and the suffering that we many of us are going through. So yeah, I mean, you're really in there witnessing the impact it can have on people. And yeah, that's beautiful. So I'm curious to go back to your own story for a moment. And I'm sure you had a turning point where you knew that you could have such a positive, impactful, impact on others. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got to where you are today and from that turning point?
Well, I was in a relationship that was dying, and I needed to get out, and I was so very anchored in the relationship. I mean, it was like I felt like when I tried to lift my legs out, I was at the core of the earth trying to unfurl myself. I mean, that's how anchored I felt in this relationship. And I remember thinking at 17, I knew how to leave the house. And at 50 some years old, I didn't know how to even move forward. I mean, it was very scary feeling. And it was when I realized that my ex-husband had remarried and I was still in the same place after the divorce. And that's not typical of me. But I realized at that point I had stuffed everything. I stuffed the grief, of the dissolution of the marriage, all of that, and so that was the part that really hit me. And then spirit came in and said, go to aesthetic school. I'm like, in your dreams, I'm doing that. Because what I was in, I didn't think he would accept that. I mean, because I wasn't working, I wasn't bringing any money, and now I'm going to school, but I'm trying to better myself. And then what they did, and my eyes were completely open when this was all happening, and they showed me what my hands were and what I was capable of doing. And I just was dumbfounded at what I saw, because at that moment it's like I'm bigger and greater than I could ever possibly imagine. And that was what scared me. It was not the smallness that we think, it's our grandness that we were afraid of. And I really felt that. So I got brave and I said, I'm going to aesthetic school. And he just said, okay. What? I mean, that was where I was. I was so stunned by it. And what I found, because I felt so alone and isolated in my own stuff at that point, because, we are a world that doesn't communicate very well with each other, especially heartfelt life situations. And I started touching people, and I started hearing what women my age were feeling, experiencing, and sharing. And I'm like, I am so not alone here. And I just started to realize, oh my God. And I found my voice in a way that I had never seen it before. And then spirit decided, okay, you're going to go to Chicago, because I started with the sound therapy. I was like incorporating it more and doing that because my vibration was expanding. And I ended up in Chicago and worked on all these people for 10 days. I mean, I was pretty beat up when I came home. The cats didn't see me. Nobody could see me. I was like invisible because my vibration was so high. I mean, the cats are sitting there staring. I hear your voice, Mom, but I don't see you. It was really weird. And then all of a sudden they saw me. It was kind of funny. And I had to make light of it, because it was like, where am I? And then that's when I was asked to move to Chicago to write the book, which I did, which was a very challenging year for me. And I thought it was going to be better than it was. But, thank God, because it was about the dark night of the soul. And because my vibration had moved that much and I became a ballroom dancer. So then there was a whole new world that came in. I mean, it was like one thing after another, after another, after another was just expanding because I had moved into this greatness and I just took it with the flow. I mean, there is a point where you're going to stop and you will stop and you have to integrate, but I just kept moving forward as long as it was here. And overall, yes, you still fight your demons, but there's more in my toolbox because of it now. And that's, I think, is the cool part, is that the more we learn and grow and evolve, we have more tools that we can use to get us out of wherever we think we are, or we have more awareness and understanding that it's like, this is just an event.
Yes.
It's not life or death. It's an event. My divorce was an event. Thank God I got divorced. Did I want to be divorced? No, but thank God, because I wouldn't be where I am today if I was still there. I probably would have still been battered in some form or another, that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
I had to start realizing that I was protected and the spirit was guiding us.
Yes. Beautiful. And it really is, what you're describing is that your journey really, really healed yourself
It did.
as well. And that's, talk about a win-win.
Yes.
So if I may ask, if you were to pick one thing, what would be the best thing that has come out of, your own journey with vibrational sound therapy specifically, and for your own healing? And what would be the best thing that has come out of it?
I have more joy in my life, and I've allowed more things. I've allowed more love to come into my life. I'm not in that position where I'm pushing things away. I'm embracing. So even when I think I'm struggling, I'm really not struggling. It's like just having to finally get rid of the garbage thinking that we have that you don't know you have until you start realizing you don't have to have it anymore, that it was a crutch. And I think that was what the most part of everything I've done is the liberation and freedom that I feel. And there's joy and love that I never thought I would really see in this lifetime. And I'm feeling it and experiencing it. And it's starting to move again, because as we're slowly moving out of the coronavirus, I'm watching things shift and change, and it's for the positive. And I thought, wow, I don't know. It's like, I got to get a hold of myself, but it's not like getting a hold of myself. It's like, wow, I can see myself like getting even bigger, and I don't know how to handle that. So it's like, okay, just breathe through it. That's all you have to do, is just breathe, and one step at a time. That's how you got here today. That's where you're going to go for tomorrow.
Yes, such a beautiful message. And yeah, we're definitely all here to expand in some shape or form at this time. So yeah, no, that's beautiful. And if we now, I'm sure there are viewers and listeners that are amazed by what you do and your story. If somebody is curious and interested in, have never had sound therapy before, or want to learn more about the topic, what are some of your tips and recommendations for someone who's listening or watching right now to get into it?
Well, I have on my website, Kathleen M. Flanagan, under the services menu, I have a Destress meditation. It's 3 minutes, and all you have to do is just download it and listen to it. And everybody has 3 minutes in a day to do it. And it's just a chakra balancing is all it is. And it's a real gentle, loving way to just kind of get realigned for the day, get focused. You can put intention out in it. And I think that's a real safe way for people to just get an understanding of what sound is, by putting their big toe in the water so they don't have to jump fully in. And then the other thing I always say is just really talk to the person that you're wanting to receive any kind of help with on an alternative modality. Understand who they are, what their story is. Have they walked their talk, or is it just like a fad that they're in? Because there are people that are phony out there. And I think as long as you're staying in control of you and what you're doing, and you understand yourself and your boundaries and what you want, and if they can achieve it, then and it feels right to you, do it. So, but I would always say if there's an opportunity to just get a little bit of an inkling of what they do, have a slight experience, I think that helps a lot, because sometimes it's not right for you and sometimes it is. And that's why I figure the sound therapy is a gift that I want to give to people so they understand it. And I'm not even asking for your email. It's free to you.
Great. Yes. And also in your own, if we bring it back to you now in terms of how you practice this for yourself, what is a practice or a tool that you're using for yourself in your own, expansion and continued healing?
The biggest thing that I'm doing every day, I'm grateful. I say thank you every day for anything that's happened. Like I'll say it before I go to sleep in the morning, or in the morning, before I go to sleep at night, I say thank you for the day that I had. And then as things happen, it's like, thank you, can I have more? Thank you, can I have more? So, and I think because of that, I'm watching, like I'm getting clients starting to come back into the spa. My aromatherapy business is starting to take some orders, and I'm moving forward in the CBD company that I just created. So I'm seeing things, and I think it's contributing just because I decided to be joyful and happy, even though the world's not, and it's hard some days, but that's not my life, and it doesn't have to be my life. I choose my life, and that is probably the biggest thing, is stopping the head garbage that we have. Stop regurgitating an injustice that was done, and just say it's what it is, and thank you, and what can I do today to bring what I want to into my life. And it's always seems to be gratitude, and as B do have, I'm being the person I want to be.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Now, bringing back to, I'm so curious about your perspective on this, and that is, where do you think, healing modalities such as vibrational sound therapy and others, where do you either want or see that go in the future?
I would love it that it becomes above the medical community. I think alternative healing modalities are about healing the whole person and not a symptom. It's not about taking a pill, because the thing is, in vibrational therapy and any kind of vibration, we are vibrational people. Our thinking is causing whatever is happening to us. And it doesn't matter what it is. You don't have to know what it is, because a lot of times it's our unconscious thoughts that are moving us and bringing things to us. So you have to understand what your unconscious thoughts are. That's the first thing. And as long as you're showing gratitude and you're working on that whole person, because the way I've learned this a long time ago is, if I'm going to get sick, it's already out there in the ethers and it's working its way in through my energy fields, and then it hits the physical. When it gets healed, it comes from the physical and it works its way out to the etheric and is transmuted. And I've always seen it that way. So you can always tell when you're going to start getting sick, right? I always do. And I was like, well, I know what I need to do right now. And I do it and it's gone, because it hasn't hit this. Because once it hits, you have to deal with it. But if it's still out in the etheric realm of your of your auric field, that's when you can take control of it.
Yeah, the body and our intuition connection that way, such a communicator. And yeah, thanks for sharing that perspective for the future. And I know you mentioned it quickly earlier, but before we wrap up this episode today, first I want to ask you again, Kathleen, where can we find you and connect with you?
I have Facebook. It's Kathleen M. Flanagan. I'm on Instagram, which is Kathleen M. Flanagan. And then I have a website, KathleenMFlanagan.com. And I have all of my services are listed there. I have a blog, I have all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I do offer a variety of services, and I'm also working on my coaching. So I'm moving forward into that as well. So there's a lot of things out there that I can do. And the one thing that's really kind of cool about sound therapy is you don't necessarily have to be on the table with me. you know?
Yes, that's amazing. Yes, I definitely know that myself too. As an energy healer, it works the same
Yep,
remotely.
yep.
So, I know you mentioned before you wrote a book. Can you mention the title of that book again?
It's Dancing Souls. It's the journey of an awakening spirit. This is book one, The Call. So the other two books are
Great.
done. I'm just got to get the back covers written, and they're going to be coming out hopefully fairly soon. So I'm pretty excited about that. So the book is basically my journey of waking up, of what it's like to wake up as a spiritual being, and it's what the masters have gone through. Jesus, Gandhi, Buddha, all of them. They went through the same thing, and what it is, we're still human. We're just a spiritual being having a human experience, and even if you're enlightened, that doesn't mean you're not still going to feel anger or jealousy or love or anything. You're still going to feel all that. What it does do is you can't say, I don't know anymore.
Amazing.
Your excuses are gone.
So true.
I know.
So, the last question I have for you, Kathleen, in today's show is somewhat of a nugget from you, a piece of wisdom that you want to leave our listeners and viewers with. And that would be, Kathleen, what do you live by?
I live by integrity. I believe that we should be who we are, be our authentic selves. And I don't care if that means that you're grumpy, angry, pissy, lovable, joyful, whatever it is, be who you are in that moment. Because I don't believe that if we're having anger or we're feeling anger, that's not a bad thing. It's a judgment. Joy is a judgment. Our emotions are judgments that we or other people put on us, and that's not who we are. I mean, be in the moment, be authentic. I think when you start becoming authentic and living your truth the way it is, and if you're pissy at somebody, then be pissy at them. Don't take it out on the dog or the cat, take it out on the person who's making you grumpy. That's how I see it. And when you do that, then you're now starting to establish boundaries, and you start feeling more empowered, and you start trusting yourself more. And I think that's the main thing, is just be integrous to who you are, and let your authentic self come out, because you're a lot more beautiful than you could ever think you are.
Oh, such a powerful message. Thank you, Kathleen, for being here on New Light Living podcast today. It was beautiful to have you in this episode. And for everyone who's watching or listening, New Light Living podcast will be back soon with another episode. Thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you,
Bye.
Ulrika.